Hello, I'm Bill Monroe, and welcome to 2 Minute Talk Tips. This week's tip: count your filler words. This is like a very, very important topic for looking at. Haven't we all been through that presentation? When we do sit through that presentation, it tends to go on for, about 100 years or so, it seems. The problem is all those verbal tics and filler words that most folks use, myself included, when talking. So, what are filler words? They're the ums and ahs and likes and verys that seep into our speech. We're most likely to use them when we don't quite know our material as well as we would like, or while we are trying to formulate our next thought. We tend to let our mouths keep working because we feel compelled to fill the silence. To get rid of those filler words, start by counting them. There are a couple of ways to count them. First, use a recording. Record a session and play back that recording, and every time you hear one of those filler words, make a tally mark on a sheet someplace. Then count them up and divide that number by the number of minutes in your speech. This will give you the filler words per minute that you use. The other way to count them is to use a partner in the audience and ask them to make a tally mark on a sheet of paper every time you use one of those filler words or expressions live. And then you can do the same math to get your result. Now that you have a metric, you can work on improving it and set a goal to reduce your filler words per minute by 20% or whatever percent you think might be achievable. Simply being aware of the filler words that you use and how you use them will make a big difference and will make it a lot easier to minimize them. Stick around, and after the break, we are going to talk about energy levels while presenting. Welcome back. This episode is going to be a little bit shorter this week, but the topic remains important. It's all about managing your energy levels. And no, I'm not talking about how much of a life is left in the battery in your laptop or your phone while you're presenting, or your Game Boy or your Tesla or whatever other battery-powered device you happen to have. I'm talking about the energy that you bring to stage as a presenter. Now, Billy Mays is one of my heroes. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that since I really don't know what kind of person he actually was in real life, but I did enjoy his super high-energy commercials for OxyClean, Kaboom, and other products back in the aughts. That kind of high-energy presentation can be a lot of fun to watch, and it can be a lot of fun to do. But overdone, it can also really annoy an audience. One of the most famous clips of former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer has him bouncing around the stage at a conference chanting, "Developers, developers, developers," really trying to get the crowd pumped up. And that's really an incredible amount of energy to bring to a crowd. But it's just one type of the energy you can use to excite a crowd. It's important to have lots of energy when you speak, but does that mean you need to be Mays or Ballmer? No. If that's not natural for you, there is another way. It comes across as intense. It's quiet, slower, deliberate. All that strength, bound up tight, to be released when the speaker wants to burst forth. Think of the potential energy in a presentation as a spring that's wound tight. In the Ballmer Mays example, the speaker just tosses that spring onto the stage, and it goes and it bounces and bounces and bounces across the stage, expanding and contracting with each and every bounce, and the audience can't help but watch it. The quieter, more intense energy, on the other hand, starts with a speaker who winds that spring tight and then holds it tight, gradually releasing it and rewinding it bit by bit by bit by bit. And the audience is aware that spring is wound tight, and they can't take their eyes off that presenter, someone who might be quiet by nature, who wants more energy in their talks, can probably use this type of energy, especially if they could never imagine doing the first type. So why should you care about energy levels? A few reasons. First of all, to show people that you care. Your audience will generally take its cues from your behavior and from how you act and how you seem to feel about your content. And if you seem bored with the material you're talking about, they're likely to be bored with it as well. And if you don't seem like you care about your content, then you're just wasting everybody's time. That energy helps show that you care. It also helps take folks on the journey. You want to bring your audience along for this ride. Whether you're pitching a product, driving a partnership, or conducting a training, you want to take the audience on a journey to ultimately get them to adhere to your call to action, to make the change that you want them to make. The persuasive journey isn't just about logic. It's about trust, it's about passions, it's about emotions. And the energy that you bring to a presentation is going to feed that trust, those passions, and those emotions. You also need to care about your energy levels to just keep people awake. Don't let your audience drift off either into sleep or into their smartphones. It also helps to make a connection with your audience. Your energy is going to help them connect with you. It's going to get them thinking about your points and your positions. It's going to give you space in their mind where they are thinking about you and thinking about what you're saying. And managing your energy levels helps you be more compelling. If you don't believe in your product or service, neither will your audience. Higher energy levels make your point seem all the more compelling. Most of us are already familiar with the infomercial type of energy, the bouncing around the stage, pitting one half of the audience against the other to see who cheers louder. Is it going to be the right side? That's pretty good. Then you run over to the other side of the stage. Is it going to be the left side? Oh, that's pretty good. Or perhaps even chiding the audience when you start in the morning and say, "Good morning, everyone," and they say, "Good morning," and you say, "Well, I didn't really hear that," or "Come on, you can do better," and chide them until they get more and more and bring that energy to you. That's what we're most familiar with. So I don't need to dive too deeply into that. But what I do want to talk about is that more intense type of energy in the quieter presenter. If that big, bouncy stage is just really not you, that's okay. To increase the energy in a quieter, more intense presentation style, you don't have to go big. You can go small. It can be about looking at the crowd in a way that conveys you know what you're talking about. It's about speaking with care, without wasting words. It means you make your word choice deliberate. It can help to plant yourself on the stage, feet a shoulder width apart in one spot, and use that one spot to command the room. Just keep winding that spring a little tighter and tighter, and then letting it out little by little. That level of focus that you can bring to it will stick with an audience. Now that we understand a little bit more about why energy is important and how it manifests in two different types of speakers, here are some ways that you can increase your energy level on stage. You'll notice that I've talked about several of these strategies when I also talked about coping with the fear of public speaking. A lot of this stuff just keeps on giving and benefits you in multiple ways. First, know your stuff. Be prepared. To increase your energy, you need to be confident and know how and what to emphasize when. Preparing and knowing your material go a long way to enhancing your public speaking skills. If you're in a backstage area, you can try pacing or meditating or stretching or walking faster and faster back and forth, whatever it takes to feel the energy rising in your body, to feel that good energy in there, and to build that up for when you actually do go out on stage and begin speaking. Whatever you need to do to get that physical energy going and contained and starting to build that so that you can do with it what you want, as long as you don't sweat too much. You're physically winding that spring and getting ready to release it in your preferred style. Refocus on your core message while you speak. Bring all your points back to it. When everything ties back to the main point, Especially if folks didn't expect it all to tie back to the main point, your energy level appears higher. You're giving your audience an aha moment. A core message gives you a rallying cry. You can even get your audience chanting as you present if that's the direction you choose to go. A core message, that theme really gives your audience a chance to grab onto a concept and to latch onto that and to work with that. And you can continue to come back and emphasize that and hit that hard in a way that is going to show a higher energy level whether you're pursuing the bouncy style or whether you're pursuing the quiet, intense style. Now, if we want to get even more detailed, you can actually look at some speaking technique. You can control your pace, your pitch, and your volume to show increased energy. For pitch, you can make your voice higher or lower depending on the point you want to make. Maybe when you're asking your audience a question, you want your voice to rise, and then you can provide an answer as you bring your voice down, or whatever is going to sound better for your particular voice and your particular style. The key is to vary your pitch as you go. You can also vary the pace at which you speak. You can speak very quickly when you want to get through a lot of different stuff, or when you want to build some excitement and build some energy, and then you can slow down when you suddenly want to land a key, memorable point. You can vary your volume. You can speak more and more loudly as you go through your presentation for certain points, and then when you want to land the most important point, drop your volume. Sometimes the loudest you can speak is just above a whisper. Because when you do that, now your audience is going to be leaning in, and they're going to be paying more attention, and they're going to be focusing on you more and more. Varying your pitch, varying your pace, and varying your volume are all ways that you can increase the energy you are demonstrating, whether you are using the big, bouncy, infomercial style, or whether you're using a more quiet, intense style of showing off the energy. But the key with those three different things is to vary them, is to mix them up, and use different combinations of all three of those to ultimately land the message and get your audience to act. So there you have it. High energy isn't always loud and bouncy. Now that we've talked about these different types of energies, what is your personal style? What do you like most about your personal style and energy level on stage? Let us know about it in the comments for episode 16 at 2minutetalktips.com. And if you enjoyed this episode of 2 Minute Talk Tips, please subscribe to us in iTunes, Google Play Music, or your favorite podcast app. And tell a friend. Thanks for listening. I'm Bill Monroe, and until next week, count your filler words, raise your energy level, and don't get best. Get better.